taken lots of breaks throughout my UFC career. To go from light heavyweight to heavyweight, I took off a solid 3 years. I just vacated my belt. No one asked me to do it, prompted me to do it. I just decided to do it. And so I have had a healthy amount of time being John Bones Jones in my adult life, but I also have had a healthy amount of time just being Jonathan.
And the way he manipulates the media and the public is super smart. I'm not taking anything away from him. But do I think he's scared to take the tough fights at this stage in his career? Absolutely.
In the combat sports world, tempers fray as heavyweight challenger Tom Aspinall rocks the division with provocative statements about Jon Jones. Watch as we explore the latest scandal involving one of MMA's superstars. Meanwhile, Jon Jones recently gave an interview, hoping to present a softer, more sympathetic version of himself. He opened up regarding how years in MMA have influenced his personality, with him owning up to the fact that the sport fueled a more aggressive side. Jones stressed that deep down, he's as sweet and genuine as they come, someone grossly misunderstood by the public. The interview felt like a push to rebuild bridges with fans, but not everyone was convinced by this new persona with a vocal Tom Aspinall.
Taking lots of breaks throughout my UFC career. To go from light heavyweight to heavyweight, I took off a solid 3 years. I just vacated my belt. No one asked me to do it, prompted me to do it. I just decided to do it. And so I have had a healthy amount of time being John Bones Jones in my adult life, but I also have had a healthy amount of time just being Jonathan, without the belt, without the fame, without the glitz. Even living in a community like this helps ground me and keeps me humble. So no, I'm not afraid of.
No, do you ever, like I imagine, even for my dad at work, I wonder sometimes, you did 28 years in the Army and you're not in the Army no more. And my question in my quote before, don't let what you're good at define who you are, but who are you if you can't do what you're good at? So who is Jon Jones without MMA?
So Jon Jones without MMA is Jonathan. I made it throughout high school and college without MMA. I was always a loving, kind person without MMA. And that's the person that I am at my core. I'm a person who gives a crap about other people. Want to see everybody, want your friends to come up, try to bring as many people up as I can. I'm trying to make as many people millionaires as I can in my time in life.
During the same interview, Jon Jones revealed a deeper spiritual insight into his fighting life. He said that he no longer feels fear during bouts, talking about a feeling of peace and destiny inside the octagon. Jones said that he now feels totally at home with the UFC, and that he felt God himself put him there personally. This kind of divine call, he said, provides him with the confidence and certainty to compete at the top without uncertainty or hesitation.
Really, really amazing. Against Cyril Gain, my first heavyweight fight, I walked into the arena and I saw all these megastars on the walls. You had Pink Floyd and Michael Jackson and Led Zeppelin and all these performers who have been in these arenas before I got there. And I remember walking through the arena and I looked around and I thought to myself, John, you're the youngest champion in UFC history. Meaning you've been in this predicament more than anybody else in the history of it. I just felt like, man, John, you belong here. Who else? Who else is gonna do it?
You're not accidentally there.
Huh?
You're not accidentally there.
You're not accidentally there. You grew up here. You started as a 23-year-old and now you're almost 40, fighting for the biggest thing, the UFC belt. Not any fight, but the biggest fight. I've fought the #1 contender my whole career. And so the fear has been lost. The fear has been lost, yeah, for sure. And even my last fight against Stipe Miocic, I just felt, someone gave me a quote a long time ago. They said, walk into a room as if God sent you there. Like you genuinely belong there, God sent you there. And when I'm at work with the UFC, I feel as if God sent me there. And that's the way I felt for a very long time. And it allows me to have a higher level of timing.
But Tom Aspinall wasn't fooled. Visiting the Impulsive podcast, the interim heavyweight champion wasn't shy, tearing into Jon Jones for what he accused as a staged bid to deceive the public. Aspinall challenged Jones's genuinely nice guy image, labeling it a PR stunt. With biting remarks and a fearless attitude, Tom made it unmistakable. He's not buying the act, and he's prepared to reveal what he thinks is the true Jon Jones.
Jon is conning the public, man.
Whoa. And Logan Paul, it's his favorite fighter.
Yeah. Oh, is it really?
Well,
yeah. Listen,
I mean, he's definitely top three. He's definitely top three.
Absolutely. I'm not disputing that he's an amazing fighter. I think the fact that he didn't want to fight Ngannou for 3 years, and now he's not wanting to fight me for over a year, and the way he manipulates the media and the public is super smart. I'm not taking anything away from him. But do I think he's scared to take the tough fights at this stage in his career? Absolutely.
Later on, Tom also trolled Jon Jones's latest motorbike escapades in Thailand by posting a side-splitting mimic sketch. The interim title holder had a cheeky go at Jones's beachy holiday vibes, having a laugh at the heavyweight monarch's laid-back existence as fans wait for him to return to the fold. The skit went viral in a matter of minutes online, with Aspinall using humor to press home what he perceives as Jones dodging the actual fight. It was vintage Tom, light on the surface, but heavy with purpose beneath.
Great, get off.
Sorry, it's a Jones thing, Tom.
Tom Aspinall thinks that there's more to Jon Jones's recent behavior than meets the eye. On a podcast appearance alongside Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson, Tom mentioned that Jones is likely more worried about the long-term toll he's absorbed over the years than he's admitting to. From Tom's perspective, this media circuit isn't about being nice. To be blunt, it's about stalling. In his opinion, Jones is sidestepping the actual test that lies ahead of him, getting in the cage with a volatile, younger heavyweight like Aspinall.
Jon, in my opinion, if you look at his body of work over the last 15 years, he's like as close as you can get to perfection as possible. He's like 37, 38 years old, but not only that, he's got a million miles on the clock. So he's got a lot of damage on the body. He's took a lot of shots to the head. And that's not me saying anything negative about it. That's the reality of it. And I'm sure Jon Jones is aware of that. And he's fighting one of the most concussive punchers in UFC history. And I just think I can exploit it. Like, I think to get out the way of me for 25 minutes at this point in his career without getting hit once, and that's all I need is just one, I think that's going to be very difficult for anybody.
In relation to that observation, past two-division champion Daniel Cormier also had some words on the matter, sharing similar skepticism. DC thinks the actual reason the Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall bout isn't taking place is straightforward: fear. He implied that Jones believes there is a valid threat of being knocked out by Aspinall, and that threat alone is enough to leave the fight on ice. From the longtime rival who knows Jones better than most, DC's comments carried serious merit to the mounting speculation.
Now he's looking down at a young man, and it's like, he's not scared. Make no mistake about it. But I think it's enough to like question it. And you know what I think a big worry might be for him? Because with Aspinall, he could potentially get knocked out. Like legitimately knocked out and put on his back and out cold. And I just don't know that he wants to have that visual of him in the world.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably, you probably nailed it right on the head right there.
Furthermore, Chael Sonnen broached this topic previously, stating that Jon Jones genuinely worries about what the UFC would do with him if he's not champion. Sonnen clarified that Jones's identity and purpose are so intrinsically linked to being in possession of the belt that, removed from it, the UFC, and perhaps even Jones, would find themselves in a murky area when it comes to a clear way ahead. This contributes to another aspect of why Jones appears so intent on continuing his championship reign.
Don is a concern. They don't know what to do with me if I'm not champion. And if Tom beats me and he doesn't give me a rematch, or they won't guarantee me a rematch, what do they plan to do with me? Again, an understanding to the inside of Jon. If that in fact is accurate information, that Jon is worried about an immediate rematch and doesn't believe he's going to get it, you can look at the board and see that he's 36 and on his way out, and this guy is 20-something and on his way up. And he even questions why they left the belt with him, to the point that he's saying if they knew what to do with me not as champion, they'd have already done it. That's very objective. So is it as simple as guaranteeing Jon a rematch? rematch? Very interesting point.
And indirectly, but certainly, Jon Jones appeared to validate both assertions himself on the interview, saying he doesn't envision himself remaining at the UFC unless he's holding the belt. His comments raised the issue that without the championship, his desire to fight might dwindle, further fueling discussions over his dedication and the heavyweight division's future. It's an unusual moment of candor that's only further fueled the firestorm over his next step.
Fine of being the champ. From 23 to now being 37, still champ today. Would you still love fighting the same way if you weren't champ?
No, I don't think I can ever be a person who loves fighting as a non-winner. For me, I'm so connected to winning. It's probably not even healthy. You know, like I see fighters that take losses and they smile and they hug their wives and they, you know, hey, better luck next time. If I were to ever lose, I would be devastated. I'd be angry and I'd be upset, depressed. And that's just my winning nature. And for me, it's do it with all your heart, do it at the highest level, do it to the best of your ability, or don't do it at all.
Would you say you have an obsessive personality?
I think I have an obsessive personality for sure.
Like, I feel like you have a gift of hyper focus, and even the IQ that you carry, the way that you study, the way that you look at things. Is that something that you feel like you've always had, this hyper focus type of personality to lock in on things like that?
And it appears the fans are catching on as well. More than 100,000 individuals have signed a petition calling for Jon Jones to be stripped of his UFC heavyweight championship. The campaign is gaining serious momentum, with supporters arguing that Jones is hindering the division and not facing a deserving opponent in Tom Aspinall. What began as online anger has evolved into an all-out campaign, placing even more pressure on the UFC and on Jon Jones to react.
I saw
petition.
that. Did you sign it?
That's
You
over
signed it, didn't you?
70,000.
You signed it, didn't you?
I did.
I'm gonna search the database.
I didn't search it.
I'm
I
gonna
didn't
find
sign
your
it.
email on there.
But dude, that's 70,000 signatures.
Man, it's annoying. It's so I'm not done with Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall clearly wants to fight. I don't know why the UFC just doesn't let him start knocking people down, right? Like, go to the next guy, go to the next guy. And hey, if John wants to come back, and you know, Dana's really big on negotiating power. So if you show John, hey John, we're gonna move on. I'm gonna have Tom Aspinall fight this guy, and then he's gonna fight this guy, and he starts rolling. You know, John essentially has almost all of his power taken away. So I'm almost puzzled that Dana has not used that maneuver to this point.
I think what is happening is this, right? First off, you can't just have a heavyweight champion and the interim champion is just defending the belt over and over again. That is absurd. Like, come on, man. You can't have an interim champ. You can't have an interim champ defending the belt.
Having a heavyweight champion who won't defend his belt's kind of absurd also.
As Chael Sonnen sees it, the swelling tide of fans signing the petition could be all it takes to anger the beast. Sonnen thinks Jon Jones, outwardly cool as can be, feeds on pride and legacy, and a public protest of this sort could catch him off base. With more than 100,000 signatures calling for his stripping, Sonnen thinks this movement could bring Jones out of the woods and back into the octagon. And occasionally, all it takes is public pressure to bring a fight back to life.
Agitated by him. Jon feels as though you, the audience, has done plenty of agitating towards him. Jon, by the time he made the walk to fight Stipe Miocic, a real-life superhero, Jon had made Stipe the bad guy. Jon was going to press conferences, putting Stipe down for things that Stipe had said, that Stipe hadn't even said. But see, Jon is getting in his frame of mind. Jon was letting us in on what his mindset needs to be. He needs a little anger. He needs a little vigor. He is not going to be thrilled about this. He's going to enjoy the attention. But you guys, you 100,000 guys and gals that did this, you've helped. Helped in some way, right? Poking the bear is the best way to get Jon to do something. I just have to remind you, I don't believe he's ever said he wouldn't do it. I don't believe that. The UFC with this fight has been very unique. Whatever Tom and whatever said on a phone call stays right there.
But while some segment of the fan base is doing everything in their power, singing petitions and calling for action, Chael reminded us of a harsher truth. In his opinion, most of the fans are already losing interest, just like they lost interest when the highly touted Jon Jones versus Francis Ngannou fight never materialized. Sonnen cautioned that the UFC window of opportunity is closing, and if this bout against Aspinall does not occur in the near future, it will slip into the same what could have been status.
I know you'd rather have the fight, but it used to be that you wanted to have the fight. I know you are excited if you find out those two are fighting, but it used to be all you wanted to talk about. Dana's at a press conference, and Dana gets asked this question a lot. It's not as though 5 press conferences go by and he gets asked 1 out of 5 times. 5 press conferences, he'll get asked 5 times, but he'll get asked very lightly. It's not the first topic out of his mouth. It's a little bit weird when somebody does ask, because for news that big, if Dana was about to reveal it, he would have already revealed it, not knee deep in a press conference, but that's MMA media for you. But above everything else, why? I've seen fights that we're supposed to have. I've seen fights that we wanted. I've seen fights that were resisted or we were told no. I've even seen this recently. You know, Tom Aspinall was not the guy. Tom Aspinall was not the boogeyman in John Jones's corner. Sergey Pavlich was. And we wanted to know how many fights he had left and how many fights we thought John would do. And then we started getting ahead of ourselves anyway and just saying that the Sergey fights compared to how many John needs, and we might not even get that fight. But before it was Sergey, it was Francis Ngannou. And we wanted that fight so bad that when Francis had the belt taken off him and was in a different promotion doing a different sport known as boxing, there was still headlines about how we were going to get this back together. There was comments made.
In a bid to salvage viewership and revive interest, Chael Sonnen intervened several times to reassure fans that the fight is actually booked. He insisted that all the arrangements had been made and the bout is on the books. Sonnen's words were meant to dispel the rumors and speculation, reminding everyone that the confrontation between Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall is indeed real, and fans will not have long to wait before it is a reality inside the octagon.
This fight is going to happen. In fact, this fight is going to happen next. You will not see Jon Jones fight and it not be Tom Aspinall. I can give you that as an assurance. I can't do it the other way. I cannot tell you that there's no scenario where Tom Aspinall fights and it would be against anyone but Jon Jones. I can't do that. I'm very close. I can go further. You will see Jon Jones fight Tom Aspinall. All the reports that you've heard that Jon is holding this fight up, they're not true. Jon has gone to the media and he's had his fun. The litmus test is when that phone rings and it's Dana White, what is said in that moment. That's the only way you go into the category of delaying and or ducking. That did not happen. That is a false report. No, I am confident enough to tell you that that fight is done, though. That fight is agreed all the way down to the date. International Fight Week made perfect sense. I personally just in my
Only
heart,
9
I
weeks.
always thought they were going to go back to New York.
Jones said he needs 4 months. Now you're going to do it in...
I'm telling you, this Jon Jones business, Jones will say a lot of things to the media. When he gets that phone call, here's the guy you're fighting. Do you understand? Yes. And that is what he will say. All the other reports are not true. Jon has come out. He's been a troll. He's had some fun. He even tried to negotiate in the media. Privately, he takes that phone call. It's yes or anything else that comes out of his mouth. Any answer that's not yes is not yes. But that did not happen. That is a false report. Jon Jones has not ducked this fight. I wish he did. I'd love to bury him. He didn't. He did not duck Tom Aspinall.
In what appeared to be an indirect effort to fuel the fire, Ben Askren intimated that Jon Jones could have some leverage over Dana White, and that's why the fight has not come together yet. Askren suggested that there may be reasons behind the scenes for not allowing the bout to happen, something other than fear or timing. This remark brought yet another level of intrigue to the continuing saga, instigating speculation regarding what actually happens behind the UFC curtain.
He jumped off the roof and he was rolling around.
Wait, he jumped off the
pool. There was one I saw where he like jumped off like into the pool, you know. So it's like he's having a great time. Cool. And listen, if Jon Jones wants to go live his life, he's always welcome to go do that, right? But that's why I'm like, let's just move on. That greatly increases their negotiating power. So
The words of Chael Sonnen put significant weight behind the continued controversy, citing the fact that Jon Jones should have been stripped of the title long ago, particularly when he opted to fight Stipe Miocic instead of Tom Aspinall. Sonnen's words added validity to Ben Askren's allegations of backroom intrigue, implying that something more is afoot behind closed doors than at first appears. It only adds fuel to the speculation as to why the much-hyped Jones versus Aspinall bout has yet to materialize.
Do you think he's ducking Tom?
No.
You think that fight happens?
100%. And it will happen this year. I believe I could go a little further and tell you this.
I think I could as well.
In New York.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Well, we went there.
Yeah.
So going from Craig and Tom to my third favorite athlete to bring up to you, Dan.
Could we stay on that for just a second?
Please.
I never miss an opportunity to be my usual dick of a self towards John.
That's what I was aiming for, really.
Yeah, I just don't feel that's happening here. I don't believe. Let me just give you a timeline. John beats Stipe, Aspinall's in the ring. The only thing we know about interim champion, because I mean, we will change the rules as we go aware, but one thing that we know about interim champion is the interim champion is the #1 contender. The interim champion will compete with the undisputed champion. If for some reason that doesn't happen, they switch chairs. You are now the undisputed champion. I mean, that is why this works. That's why there's no conversation. The built-in leverage is in front of everybody. Not what happened here.
Ben Askren went on further, implying that Dana White might instead just skip over Tom Aspinall and put John Jones against a different fighter altogether. But Daniel Cormier vehemently opposed that notion. DC believed that while the champion remains in good health, the interim title holder does not need to continue defending his belt just to prove himself. Rather, he maintained, the correct step is for Tom Aspinall to directly confront John Jones, deciding the division once and for all in the octagon.
Doesn't let him start knocking people down, right? Like, go to the next guy, go to the next guy. And hey, if John wants to come back, and Dana's really big on negotiating power. So if you show John, hey, John, we're going to move on. I'm going to have Tom Aspinall fight this guy, and he's going to fight this guy. And he starts rolling. John essentially has almost all of his power taken away. So I'm almost puzzled that Dana has not used that maneuver to this point.
I think what is happening is this, right? First off, you can't just heavyweight champion, the interim champion is just defending the belt over and over again. That is absurd. Like, come on, man. You can't have an interim champ. You can't have an interim champ defending the belt.
Having a heavyweight champion who won't defend his belt's kind of absurd also.
You can't have an interim champion that's defending the belt while the heavyweight champion isn't.
Which one's more absurd?
That the interim champ will just be defending the belt if the heavyweight champion is there.
But the heavyweight champ won't fight. Just say he's injured or say he's sick. I don't know, say something. Just say like.
But while that interview was generating heat, Tom Aspinall posted a fresh fight teaser that put fans in a blender. The post was cryptic on purpose, with the fan base abuzz over whether it was with John Jones or a completely different opponent. That seemingly wild move only served to further increase mystery and intrigue over the drama that was building up to Aspinall's next major test.
Hey, Tom teasing us with some big news. Heavyweight news coming. Look at that. Now, I think he clarified that he ain't announcing anything and it's the UFC announcing his fights. But he joked that he was going to be defending his interim belt. I'm pretty sure. There it is. UFC announced my fights, guys. Not me. Sorry. I'm fighting for a new belt. Interim of the interim BMF UFC heavyweight title. Living my best life. I think in about a month or so, I think by International Fight Week, we'll know what's up. That's my new prediction. That's the new deadline.
That interview with John Jones certainly rattled the cages, inducing a flurry of responses. From fiery refutations by Tom Aspinall to heated fan outrage and behind-the-scenes drama, the ensuing chaos indicates how much pent-up tension there is behind the scenes. If you want to keep abreast of every development in this drama, don't forget to subscribe and press that notification bell. Share your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think of Jones's comments and the controversy they've created?